Hey everyone, just want to encourage you to find us on your listening platform and give us a rating. Anywhere you listen to that has a rating system, go on over and give us a rating and maybe leave us a review. Let us know your thoughts. These ratings really do help. Thank you so much for listening. On to this week's episode.
Do you have a favorite fantasy film, Nicole? And I mean like real fantasy, not like some bullshit like, oh, I love this French artistic film about a lesbian who falls in love with a cow or something. I mean like a real fantasy, like elves and shit.
Yeah. First of all, lesbian fantasy film about someone who falls in love with a cow. I love that that's like a fantasy movie. Falls in love with a cow. Gee, I guess it would be Harry Potter. That's fantasy, right?
Oh, that is fantasy. Yeah,
Yeah.
Duh. I set myself up for that one.
Yeah, had to
are you
go
planning
easy.
Are you planning on playing the game?
The video game?
Yeah.
I would. I do not have a device to play it on, but you know, if someone was like, "Hey, you want to come over and like play this all night?" I'd be like, "Okay."
No, we're getting a little off topic because I don't think we care about the topic, but that's okay. It's our podcast. But since this is fantasy related, I actually just bought Eddie the game as the anniversary gift because I know he'll love it. I'm indifferent towards it, but like him and his nephews are so gung ho about this game, so I picked it up for him as the anniversary gift since
That's
they
really
correlate.
sweet. Yeah.
I won't be getting it for a few days, but still, I'm excited to play it, to check it out. Because usually what ends up happening when we play these games is that I end up finishing them. Well, he'll do like all the world exploring, but he'll never progress the story. I'm just like, all right, I need to know what's happening. Anyway, fantasy film. Yeah, no, that Harry Potter totally counts as fantasy and stuff. I feel like most fantasy movies are based off of books, just like this one that we're going to be talking about.
This is not based off of a book, is it?
Yeah, Willow's the book.
It was a book first?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Willow was a book first.
I don't know about that.
I could be making that up. I could have sworn that it was a book.
Yeah, no.
Oh, wait.
It's
George
story
Lucas
by
conceived
George
the
Lucas,
idea for the film. Oh, he made it up. Okay, Here we
Mm-hmm.
go. I thought it was a book this whole time. Well, here we just learning things at the cold open, you know?
This is like, if you feel like, you know, we're not going to put our heart into this episode, then like you're right. And turn off the episode now unless you like want to be disappointed and are a hardcore Willow fan.
Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna get right into it. We're gonna be talking about Willow today. We have opinions. I'm Rolando,
And I'm Nicole.
and this is remakes, reboots, and revivals
An original podcast.
about unoriginality.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I gave you fair warning. If you're still listening to this, you know, buckle up. But before we get
There
into
are some
it,
Willow gung ho fans out there.
They
I don't know
exist.
Who.
They
Actually,
do.
one of our friends is a big Willow fan.
Are they just called like Willies?
Willites,
Willites?
Willow,
Willems?
yeah.
Yeah, before we get into that, you have some news you want to share.
I do. I have some news that I want to share that, you know, it's an ongoing theme, our fight about streaming versus movie theaters.
Yeah.
The movie theater experience. And both, I think two major players, both news leaked of the way they're just going about business. So I don't know if you heard about how Netflix is going to be making people like sign into their main accounts every 31 days, which is annoying as all hell.
Ridiculous, yeah.
And it's really making me consider just dropping Netflix out of just the annoyance factor. It's just like, honestly, let's be very honest. I don't even think I watch Netflix that much. You know? It's like all the other streaming services, they have the content. Netflix is giving me
They
like...
offer way better content, yeah.
Yeah, so how do you feel about that?
I don't watch Netflix that much, so I'm okay with getting rid of it.
We had to cover it last week for a podcast episode.
Oh, right, that, yeah.
Yeah, oh. That's right. It's nominated for an Oscar. I forgot.
That's right, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, whatever. I'm sure I could just, like, go over someone's house and watch it on theirs or something. It's not like live or die, you know?
Right. Yeah.
What about you?
No, I'm kind of the same way. I've been telling Eddie for some time now. It's just like, what do we really watch on Netflix? Like nothing really.
Yeah.
Like it's just like collecting the $12.99 from me, and it's like I'm not getting any joy out of it. You know.
Not worth it.
So,
That $12.99 could go to so much more.
I mean, can it?
It could go to at least like 4 cups of coffee.
Not even.
Not
maybe
even.
2.
Sad in this
Maybe
economy.
2.
We're such
Right.
adults. We said the word in this economy.
Right. So that was Netflix's big announcement that I was just like, Jesus, like, what the fuck are they thinking? I know that they're trying to crack down on password sharing, but
Yeah.
that's absurd. But then AMC decided it's just like, oh no, hold my beer. I got bigger news. It's gonna annoy more people. Did you hear what they're gonna do their pricing model?
Tell us.
Oh, okay. So the new pricing model is that they're going to be doing pricing based off of the seating. So like the primo the seat, the higher the ticket price is going to be. And already, as someone who is already not in moods to go to the theaters in general, I feel like this new pricing model is going to be like, oh, you just really want to just kill this industry, AMC theaters.
Wow. So what's the primo seat though?
I'm assuming like center rows, center of the thing. I saw like someone, I don't know if this is an official diagram, but I saw like a good chunk of the seats are all like highlighted yellow, being like these are premium seatings, and like the bottom rows are like not.
Well, then that actually works out for me because I love the bottom rows.
Do you? Even for
do.
AMC? I don't mind it for like a theater that has like good reclining seats, but AMC rarely does.
Most AMCs now have the ones that you can like lean back in. Most of them do recliners.
But is it like
is it
like a recliner? Like, am I almost like laying?
It depends on the theater, but the theater by me, every single theater has a recliner. So, whereas the one that we saw, Nope, only select ones had, which was a
Right.
bummer. But yeah, even then though, like unless it's like the first row and it's not a recliner, then I might not do it. I might do like the second or third row. But
Yeah.
so, do you remember when they started doing assigned seats?
Assigned seats, I don't mind, right? Because I'm not
Okay.
paying extra for the assigned seating. Actually, I prefer assigned seating. It gives me a little peace of mind because you remember back before assigned seating, like when the movie
First come,
premiered,
first serve,
it was
yeah.
first come first. You had to be there like almost. I would sometimes be there like almost like a half hour, 45 minutes early, to make sure we got good seats with my family and stuff. So
Yeah.
assigned seating, I thought was a game changer. It was just like this, because they're not charging extra, or even if they were charging like let's say $1.50 convenience fee, that's worth it. But to be paying higher prices for better seats, I'm just like, this isn't. We're not like going to like a Beyonce concert, you know?
Yeah,
We're
I
going to
know.
go see a movie. So,
Now-
and I think the other thing, it does feel a little elitist. Like it's just like, so already we're just dicking over the lower. I mean, the movie theater experience is already so expensive as it is.
It really is. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a firm believer that a movie ticket should never be a double digit. Like the highest it should ever be is $9, and the fact that that's not even on average is atrocious. And then popcorn and all that shit. I mean, like I see families at the movie theater, and I wonder, I'm like, how do you afford this? Because all of them have a bucket of popcorn and a soda, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, well, they just dropped $100 easily.
Yeah, no, totally.
Now, it's confirmed that the high end seats or like the most desirable seats, those prices are like increasing, or are the other prices that aren't those seats
decreasing.
Decreasing.
That's what I thought. But a lot of the readings that I'm finding is just like, no. They're increasing the price of like the good seats.
fucking AMC?
Yeah, so I think, like we're constantly fighting about this, right? Like the movie theater experience, is it worth it and stuff? And a
Yeah.
move like this, I feel like it's just like, what? Like, I know I'm going to cancel Netflix, but like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay extra to get, to watch, I don't know, the
Well-
new Dungeons and Dragons movie when it comes out
Yeah.
in a good seat, you know what I mean?
AMC, man, claiming they make movies better with Nicole Kidman, and I don't know about that. I
No.
mean, I have an AMC like A-list thing, so I constantly am getting $5 for a free movie, and on a Tuesday, like if I go see a movie on Tuesdays, it's free, so like that, like that's the only thing that I like about AMC. Other than that, I'm so tired of them, and I really like hate that they're the only chains, and that like other type of theaters don't really exist anymore. That is to me the most infuriating part. Like,
But they're not,
mom and pop.
they're the
theaters.
biggest chain, I think.
Right,
There's
but if
Regal Cinemas.
There's Regal, there's Carasotes and stuff.
Oh, Carasotes is like, I think there's like 7 theaters.
Like 7 in existence.
In the country.
But other than that, there's not just like a random like Jersey City theater, like none of these places exist anymore. And that to me is more. And when AMC does shit like that, I'm like, okay, yeah, theaters are just disappearing up their own asshole. Mm-hmm. So it sucks. But so is Netflix. So at least, streaming didn't win one here too.
No, they both decided like, it's just
Taking
like, we're going to be
losses.
shitty together. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is all just because of the Marvel and like the Disney movies that like people rush to see like Thursday night. They're just like trying to capitalize off of those people.
Well, they already charge extra for those screenings.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I
so
know. People fall really into it though, man.
Like, I'm not gonna. I just take, like, if I'm gonna get premium seating, if I'm paying for this seating, they need to start guaranteeing me that no children are gonna be talking throughout the theater. You know what I mean? Like, they need to start guaranteeing me that like I will enjoy this movie in peace. I'm not gonna be like having to sit next to some dickhead on their phone. Right?
For sure.
Like, that is the only, like, and if they don't start enforcing some rules, then I'm just not gonna go.
Yeah.
At least to AMC. So far as I know, Carasotes is not vegan, and they're my boo.
Well, thank you for sharing that news. I did not see that. I got to look into that. So
Yeah, you check it out. Leave a link in the show notes.
yes. But all right, so let's get to the real bread and butter of today's episode. We're going to be talking about something that's been on Disney Plus for a while, and being that it's February and it's kind of a quiet time, we thought we would go back and revisit this or visit it for the first time. And we're going to be talking about Willow, the 1988 film by Ron Howard, which I was like, for some reason, I forgot that Ron Howard made that movie. Mm-hmm. And the new Disney Plus series of the same name, Willow, that is not directed by Ron Howard. So
and
Ron
not
Howard,
based off
right?
a book, as I just
And not based off a book. Ron Howard is a filmmaker?
Didn't he do Apollo 13?
He did do Apollo 13.
There you go. I'm sure I know other Ron Howard stuff. Wasn't he also in Happy Days?
He was, yeah. So his big thing was that he was the child actor in Andy Griffith's show, and then he became, an actor. He was in American Graffiti. He was in Happy Days, and then he transitioned to becoming a filmmaker. His very first film was actually Grand Theft Auto in 1977.
The video game?
There's a film called Grand Theft Auto.
There's a games based off of it?
I think so. I mean, at least the title of it is.
Okay.
But it's
also
like
a crime, so like.
Yes. Car movies were huge in the 70s too. So in the 80s, he started directing films like Cocoon and Splash, Willow apparently. Then he started transitioning to like dramatic films like Backdraft, Apollo 13.
Oh, Backdraft. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen Backdraft.
Oh, you have?
Mm-hmm. That's the fire movie, right? Like, I guess the
yes,
firefighter
the firefighters. Movie? Yes.
Very preachy.
Yes, yeah. I haven't seen it actually.
Really? Okay.
So, yeah.
I
don't know. It's whatever.
I mean, it's the preachy movie about like, oh my god, firemen, they're like heroes. Which, sure, they are, but
they are. Yeah, but do I really need to be told that for 2
exactly.
hours? He directed How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the film you love.
Yes, I is it just me? I feel like the world has come around to How the Grinch Stole
a lot
Christmas.
of people love it, but between the two of I'm not like, I can't say I love it. Especially out of all of the Grinches, it might be my least favorite.
Your least favorite? What?
Yeah. Well, my favorite is the original, the 60s one.
Real God. Okay.
But I actually did like this new Benedict Cumberbatch one. So.
Okay.
Then he did A Beautiful Mind, won the Oscar, and then that transitioned to like his important director status. That was really short-lived because then he started making like the Da Vinci Code movies, and then it all just started like he started.
Oh wait, he did
movies.
the Da Vinci Code?
He did. All 3 of them with Tom Hanks.
There's 3 Da Vinci Codes?
There are Da Vinci
there were
Code,
only
Angels
2.
and Demons, and Inferno. I know because by the time Inferno came out, nobody cared.
Right.
Yeah. And then he made Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, his last 2 films, it's just like the rise and fall of Ron Howard because he made Hillbilly Elegy, which is a notorious flop.
I thought didn't it get an
I think
Oscar
Jen
nomination?
Close got nominated, but other
There
than
we
that,
go.
the movie was panned.
Okay.
And then last year he had a movie come straight to Prime called 13 Lives about like the people in the in the mines in Thailand that got like trapped, and then people have to go and rescue them.
Okay,
With Colin Farrell and whatnot. I mean, like maybe 10 years ago that movie would have been like a real Oscar contender, but like now it came out on Prime and nobody watched it.
Well,
So it's just like, I don't know. Type of movies he makes are kind of dated now, in my opinion. And there was once a time where he was like, on top and stuff. So it's just interesting to watch his career progress and stuff.
Don't talk down about Prime though, because like The Big Sick came out on Prime exclusive, and it got
not
nominated
talking
for
down
like
on
best screenwriting.
I'm just saying like,
I think it got nominated for Best Picture too.
but it came out to like zero fanfare. Not a lot of people even know this movie exists.
Oh, well, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, like I don't even
like,
think
people
Prime
not
had
caring
faith
about
in
it.
Yeah, like Prime was just like, I guess we'll release it. It's not like one of the movies that they've been pushing forward.
Right.
So, but I guess I'm just like saying all of this because after watching Willow, I kind of realized how much I don't really care for Ron Howard as a filmmaker, and how somebody can be objectively good and competent and yet feel so like lack of, I don't know, like vapid is the word that comes to mind, but like I don't feel an emotional response out of his direction, right?
Even A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, I've seen A Beautiful Mind maybe twice. It's been years since I've seen it. Don't really care to revisit it. Even though it won the Best Picture,
I mean, I would agree on the revisiting part. I'm not but you know me, I'm like notoriously not a movie revisitor, but I enjoyed A Beautiful Mind and stuff. It was a solid screenplay.
Yeah.
And it had strong performances. Whether or not you can say like it was the most beautifully directed film. But are not the performances part of the direction?
Exactly. And I think his big movie that I think of, especially just because of the role it's played in my life, is Apollo 13. My mom always loved that movie. And she took us to see it as a child, and I think I notoriously fell asleep. And it was really fitting because, well, one, I don't often fall asleep in the theaters. Even as a kid, I didn't often do it. But I just think that that like set off my relationship with Ron Howard movies. I think my favorite thing Ron Howard has ever done is provide the voiceover for Arrested Development. So,
right. I mean, it's good. It's good narrating.
It is good narrating for sure. But today we're going to focus on one of his earliest efforts, which is Willow, not based on a book, but instead based on a story by George Lucas. But the screenplay is by Bob Dolman. And I think he conceived of this in like the early 70s. But like it took him 10 years to finally like bring it into a stage of, pre-production.
Right.
And and he approached Ron Howard after Ron Howard made Cocoon.
Oh.
To be the filmmaker and stuff for this. And
what are your thoughts on Cocoon? I've never seen it. Is that the one about the old people?
Yeah, it is. It's been a long time. So again, I don't really care to revisit a lot of his movies. So there's that. When this film came out, wasn't actually like the hit that I guess, well, I don't even think I expected it to be a success. But, 80s, like the 80s had like a interesting relationship with fantasy because like they were very like specific type of fantasy movies, like sword and sandal fantasy movies.
Is that like Conan?
Yeah, like Conan the Barbarian, like Legend. Movies like that.
The only two fantasy movies.
The only ones I can think of right now. But like this is when George Lucas was like at the top of his game in Hollywood. He was producing the Indiana Jones movies, the Star Wars things had just kind of ended. And then he did, or at least he produced Howard the Duck, which was like a total flop. So he kind of had to like redeem himself.
He did Howard the Duck?
I'm pretty sure he was involved with that, yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, wait, yeah. George Lucas.
George Lucas, not Ron Howard.
I thought I was...
No, yeah, this is because this was kind of like George Lucas's baby. And you can see that he was involved with this story because story-wise, it is... I mean, it's similar to Star Wars, but then again, like, this is a very classic story, like the Chosen One story.
The Chosen One, like the monomyth kind of storyline. It's not...
Yeah.
It's not that. It's kind of derivative.
It is, yes.
But, I mean, let's be real. A lot of fantasy tends to be, so...
It is. And I feel terrible, like, I didn't want to be the one to say that, so I'm glad you did. Because, truthfully, fantasy is at the bottom of my genres. Like, I love genre so much, but, like, it's the one I don't go to.
That's so interesting, because I more or less am the same way. I don't gravitate towards fantasy films.
But you don't gravitate towards genre, right? Like you kind of would prefer just like a comedy or drama, right? Like you don't want to be like caught into anything that's too genre-y.
I don't know. I mean, superhero is a genre, and I'm like, I'll go watch those.
True.
As in, I don't know. I'm like, who knows? I don't even know. My relationship with film at this point is like so confusing. Where like I have conversation with friends, and they're like, it's like, how did you study film if you don't even like it? I'm just like, you know what? I didn't study it for the craft.
Yeah.
I studied it for the work. All right. Like,
this is true. To advance your career.
like, so I mean, I do enjoy films and stuff, but no, fantasy is one of those genres that like I don't gravitate towards it when it comes to live action and film.
Okay.
I'm much more forgiving for fantasy if it's animated or in different mediums, like
television?
Sometimes television. That could be a hard. And the reason I think television I'm also more forgiving is because like television allows you to tell a wider story where I could focus on characters and stuff.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So usually with films, I don't know, they could be hit or miss. I'm not like the most recent fantasy movie that comes to mind is that movie about the Barbarian with Nicole Kidman in it and Alexander Skarsgård. The Northman.
Isn't that more of like a historical fiction?
It's as far as I'm concerned, no, because like they were like gods and stuff like
but based on like Norse mythology?
Yeah, it's still fantasy.
Okay, yeah, in that sense, yeah, mythology.
Whack as all fuck is my opinion. I thought it was one of my least favorite films. And also from a director who I love because I love The Witch and
The Lighthouse.
What's his other movie? The Lighthouse. Oh, The Lighthouse is great. I had such high hopes for this film. When you know, it's like, oh, it's gonna be a fantasy. I'm just like, all right, I'll check it out. And I was just like, clunker, hated it. I was so mad I paid AMC for that movie theater experience.
AMC, man. It's just so many reasons for us to be mad at them.
So have you seen it?
I have not seen it, actually. It was something that escaped me, and I just haven't kind of found the
energy because you know
the desire, and it could be because it's fantasy actually. Because I'm like, do I really want to watch this Norse action? But it's like an action movie, so.
I mean, the action sequences are fine, but
yeah. I'd rather watch like a murder mystery from the 30s or 40s, like every day of the week. So, like, I'm watching this old series called Torchy Blaine, of this old reporter like solves murders in the 30s. So yeah,
it's a movie series.
There was like 8 of them.
I wonder if you would enjoy that new Ryan Johnson. This is how much we don't want to talk about Willow.
I watched Poker Face.
Oh, is it good?
I do like it, and again, we're gonna get to Willow in 1 second, but let me explain. It's a different type of murder mystery because it's not a whodunit, it's a how catch 'em. And they don't normally make how catch 'ems, and that's actually something that like got really developed on television in the 70s with shows like Columbo. But the whole thing is that they reveal how the murder was done in the beginning. The whole show is whether or not the detective will solve it and how they solve it, right?
Interesting.
And that's very much the premise of Poker Face. And I love Natasha Lyonne. So.
Yeah, that's the main reason I want to check it out, just because Natasha Lyonne is in it. And
yeah.
You know, this is a woman who is finally getting the recognition she deserves.
Absolutely. And it's just like, you know, it's like a nod to old like 70s detective shows and stuff, which like I watch. So. Okay, Willow. How do we talk about the story? Let's just sum it up really kind of quickly.
Sure. So there's an evil queen in some unnamed country. I think it was named Burbank or something. Nakmar. And she is slaughtering all the newborn babies looking for the one who will bring her down, who's prophesized to bring her down. And a woman who gave birth to the baby with the mark sends off the baby with the midwife to protect the child from slaughter. It's very biblical, right? Like this happened in Jesus times.
This reminds me of the opening of Prince of Egypt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
right?
why were the Egyptians killing the babies in Prince of Egypt?
I
think they were just I think it was genocide. I don't think it was.
I think so. Yeah, just because
like Herod was looking for Jesus.
I think
the Egyptians are just doing it because they're Jewish.
not Jesus though, Moses, right?
No. Herod was looking for Jesus. Ramses or the kings of the Egyptians were doing it just, I think, genocidally. I don't think they were doing it for a reason.
Got it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Anyway, because it also happened in Game of Thrones.
No, yeah. Again, all of these like stories are taken like from pretty much like I guess the Bible's the ultimate fantasy series.
Wow, you said it, not me. All right.
No offense, it's a great book. It's a great book.
So the baby eventually ends up in this town full of are they dwarfs or elves?
Nelwyn?
Okay, thank you.
They are dwarves. Yes,
it's a race of dwarves. Okay, and the baby ends up being found by Willow and Willow Ufgood and his two children. Willow has dreams of becoming like a sorcerer, and he's eventually given the task of returning the baby to Nakmar, and he goes on this adventure, ends up finding Val Kilmer.
Yeah, just a bunch of different, like a ragtag team of people who help him in his mission, essentially.
Right. Val Kilmer, the Princess
Mad Mardigan.
Shore. That's Mad. I could never pronounce that name.
Finn Raziel or something, or Finn Raziel, the sorceress.
Yeah, she's the one who tells Willow that. So he encounters her. She tells him that like the baby is Alora Danin, who is going to bring down the evil queen Bavmorda. God, I mean, just reciting this sounds so corny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly why I hated the first movie of the Black Pearl. Not Black Pearl. Which one? You know what I'm talking about.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
No, God. I'm talking about that movie. It's another, the one with like the bird people. And it was a TV show on Netflix for one season that was really good with the little puppets.
Dark Crystal?
The Dark Crystal. The
Black Pearl. Dark Crystal.
God, this is...
Oh my
guys, if you
gosh.
stop listening, you're missing out. This is great content, all right?
It's one of our best episodes yet.
Yeah, because the Dark Crystal was also corny like this. Of like this call to adventure being sent off and going about, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I think that there was a lot to the world building in the Dark Crystal, at least to like the word, like to the type of creatures that were created, like between the Skeksis and the Gelflings. I think that is like way more impressive than like, oh, dwarfs and tall people, you know? Like,
I mean,
or the Delki or something, whatever they call the tall people in this.
Yeah, I don't, but
like, but they're all just like such classic. You've seen them before to the point where it becomes predictable. Like, I guess for me, the Dark Crystal, like, I've never seen a Skeksis before. What a
That's
creature.
true.
Like Jim Henson's puppet tree and the puppet building that his team did.
Well, I'm not talking about necessarily the
but like they created these brand new, you know, like creatures.
Right, but I'm talking about the ultimate, the story, which is this call to adventure, going on a journey. They meet the All Mother or whatever, right? This is similar.
Sure.
This story has very similar beats, right? Where they meet.
Another thing in Dark Crystal's favor, just really quick, is that this is all happening after the complete extinction of an entire race, and there's one person left standing. Willow takes place before that. The prophecy is saying this could happen. So I think that's also what makes the Dark Crystal more interesting and engaging, is because everything has already been lost. Right? You're
escaping. I'm just saying it's just like story wise.
I'm just defending the Dark Crystal now for sure. I agree with you.
But I don't. I mean, I don't. Okay. So you know me. I didn't like the Dark Crystal.
I know you didn't like the Dark Crystal, and that's one thing I don't agree with you on. What I will agree with you on is with Willow is that it's a little bit. I've seen this before, and I've seen it done way more interesting.
Yeah, you know, it's he builds like a ragtag team. They end up with Sorsha, who is the princess, Queen Bavmorda's daughter, who she's on a mission to actually find the baby, but she ends up kind of like going on their side and helping him on his journey. Willow learns magic and using actually trickery, he brings down Bavmorda.
Yes. He actually, and it's like this whole, like, he had it within him the whole time, you know, like he didn't have to, I mean, he did find, you know, this magic within him, but then it was already there.
Right.
You know.
Very
all
cute
that.
story. Like, it's very,
Yeah,
very
whatever.
saccharine.
We're both rolling our eyes. So, did you know that Val Kilmer and Joanne Whaley, they met and they fell in love on this set?
I do. Is that Saoirse?
Yeah, Saoirse and Mad Mardigan.
Oh.
Yeah, and they worked together for a long time. They have children together.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. Well,
So, thoughts on Val Kilmer?
I mean, he's handsome. Like, I don't know.
Do you think he's a good actor?
In this film, I think he was doing his best with the script. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's he's such an interesting case. He kind of almost reminds me, I mean, maybe this is a little bit of an unfair comparison, but like a bit of Keanu Reeves, where it's like I can never not see Val Kilmer,
Right.
But I see the effort. Now, of course, like, okay, have you ever seen Tombstone?
No, that's a Western, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he like
hard pass.
disappears into Doc Holliday. He's so good as Doc Holliday. So like he's actually a really good actor. And I see him having fun in this and like really embracing this character. So I see the charm, and I actually see why she fell in love, with him. Because he just kind of like embraced, the silliness of everything about Mad Mardigan. But I feel like he's supposed to kind of be like the I don't know, because Willow kind of, played by Warwick Davis, he kind of feels one note for most of the movie.
Willow?
Like he's just like so serious.
He's serious. He's like serious, but he's also naive a little bit.
Yeah. And he's like so moral and upstanding.
But I mean, all the characters are really one note. Also,
That's the thing, yes.
like Saoirse's relationship with Mad Mardigan, like
Mardigan.
that kind of was like just
Out of nowhere.
jammed in there.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like-
Yeah. I mean, like, I didn't really enjoy this film. I thought it was just like, it hit all of these familiar beats. Like there's these two characters that are really small. I forget what they are.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about. I don't even know what. Like there must
I
be
think
like
they're called
fairies.
brownies.
Okay.
And they're like supposed to be there for comedic relief, and like every time I see them, I'm just like, I cannot take it. It's just not charming at all for me. It doesn't work at all for me.
Look,
the love story feels shoehorned in. Yeah, go for it.
I don't disagree with you. I'm not. So when did you first see this film?
2 days ago.
Oh, I grew up with this film.
I did not grow up with this.
It was constantly playing on Pix 11 or
I
the
was gonna
WB. That's where I
Really?
used to see all the with commercials and everything, and I always used to be so
Surprising.
bored out of my mind watching.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is this one of those movies that also traumatized you in the doctor's office?
No,
along with
this was not
Secret
one of
Nim?
the two movies that traumatized me in the doctor's office are A, Dark Crystal, and B, The Secret of Nim.
There you go. There
Which
you go.
I'm
I
wondering
remember
when is
that.
that getting remade?
Yeah, right. When are we gonna cover it? Can't wait. There's one person who I really thought stole this movie, which was the Queen Bravmorda.
Who's not
great.
Susan Sarandon?
Who's I did not think that.
I thought at the time.
You know who I thought it was, and I looked it up, and it's not her. I thought she was the mom from Hook, like Robin Williams' wife.
Oh, I don't remember who that is.
Well, I've seen Hook many times in my life, so I'm like, that looks like Robin Williams' wife from Hook.
Although speaking of Hook, the music sounded so much like Hook throughout the entire thing. I will say.
Oh, really?
You didn't
Okay.
hear it? Like there were
I didn't
parts of
hear
it
it.
that I heard a lot that sounded like Hook.
Hook's music is so distinctive for me, though. So.
Who made the music for Hook? Do you know?
John Williams, and the music for
this one was
Willow
James
was
Horner.
James Horner. Yeah.
Who did Titanic?
He did do Titanic.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
how I know him. See, guys, every now and then I pull shit out of my ass, you know?
Yeah. But she was great. I mean, she like was just committed to her character.
Not enough screen time, in my opinion.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I kind of wish the movie was from her perspective.
Oh, I agree. Actually, my favorite line that she says is when she's talking to her ally or whatever, and he's like, "I don't trust your daughter," and she's like, "I trust her more than you." As she's walking
Yeah,
away.
yeah, as they're
It's
walking away.
just-
Yeah.
it's just so vicious. I love it.
She's evil. I mean, she is the epitome of evil in this movie.
Which
and-
is what I mean. All good movies need a good villain, right?
Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
mean,
Although part of me was like, what are you waiting for? Kill the baby.
it's true.
Why
because
did she
she's
take
already,
that long?
She's already killed so many. You know what I mean?
Seriously.
Like,
she's like, I gotta like savor this death of the baby or something.
just because it's the chosen baby.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, so I grew up with this film. It was never one of my favorites growing up. I just always associated with boredom, and rewatching it for the podcast, as I usually do things, I do things in reverse, right? I'll watch the new property first, and then I'll go back in it. And I was just like kind of excited to watch Willow, because I'm just like, oh, maybe like having like more mature eyes, having patience, tolerance will make this more enjoyable. And it only did a little bit. Like, I think the movie is more charming now than when I was a kid, but it's not like a movie I will never have any desire of watching this ever again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same.
Like, it's just like, all right, I actually think some of the effects are pretty good. And I think some of the costume design is actually cute. Outside of that, like, it's not my favorite film.
Yeah.
But
it's not my favorite film.
Like,
by a long
the
shot.
bad guys, you know, like their skull helmets and stuff, I thought, you know, cool. They have cool designs, this film throughout.
Hey, yeah, again, like, competently made, just, you know, really lacking like emotional punch for me to like care.
Yeah. I remember those so, and also in retrospect, I didn't realize how like violent this film was without necessarily showing the violence, right? We don't see like people getting ripped apart, but it's all implied. Like early on, the midwife getting ripped apart, like in the credits.
Yes.
Mind you,
yes.
it's the credits. She's just getting devoured by these like werewolves or something. I don't even know.
Oh my God, you actually just wanted to remind me of something. When I was watching this movie, I was like, they got the most expressive baby ever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
so many close-ups of the baby reacting.
The baby is so adorable.
How did they get those shots? Like, some of them are like crazy, where the baby's just like looking confused or looking startled or like laughing.
They probably just had the camera on this poor baby, like
seriously, like just filmed it for 5 hours straight.
The mom
and that
nearby,
poor editor went through it.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what happened.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, every time they went to the baby, I was like, wow, I understand exactly what I'm supposed to in this reaction shot. It was crazy.
And I like Warwick Davis's relationship with the baby, right? Like, I think it is sweet. I think, you know, it's a sweet movie. It's saccharine. It's like, you know, it's
yeah. I think it was meant for children too when it
for
came
sure.
out. So,
and not me as a kid, but
yeah,
is
it's
it
not for me? Yeah,
is it a film that I want to show my kids? Probably not.
Never.
I'd rather show them like Lord of the Rings.
And yet it seems like there's a big enough following, you know, that Disney Plus ushered in this new television series. But, you know, I think that a lot of these George Lucas properties are getting revisited because people love George Lucas, maybe? I don't know.
Is it, or is it just because Disney has the rights and the money?
Like, Disney has the rights, the money, and the fucking time. Like,
and
Jesus.
Yeah, do we have the patience? Do we have the tolerance? Do we have the will
Seriously.
to watch these shows? That's the question.
Yeah. Willow.
Let's go into Willow. 2022. I think it ended in 2023 though, but I don't 100% know. Willow. I remember when this was announced, they did like this weird video of Warwick Davis kind of introducing the young cast, like behind the scenes. But this film was actually announced. Let me see. So discussion of the continuation of the film began as early as 2005 because, I don't know, Warwick Davis must not be doing anything. He's just been like, yeah, we're going to go to it. I get it. Homeboy needs a paycheck. I ain't going to bring him down. But in 2019, Ron Howard had revealed that he had been approached to bring the film into a television series. And it was greenlit in 2020. And John M. Chu directed the pilot episode, and Davis was reprising his role. Chu would announce that he would step away from directing due to duties to a production delay and a personal reason in January 2021, with Jonathan Entwistle, who was hired to replace Chu. You know Chu, right? John M. Chu?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He's done like those, like, he does like action-y blockbuster movies, right?
Did he do In the Heights?
Did he do In the Heights?
Am I thinking of someone else?
No, I think he may have done In the Heights. I was thinking the Step Up to the Streets. No, I don't think. I think that might be someone else. Crazy Rich Asians. In the Heights.
Yeah, he did do In the Heights then. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
G.I. Joe Retaliation. He did Gem in the Holograms. What a shame.
And he's gonna be doing Wicked.
He's doing Wicked. Is Wicked going to be an animated movie, or is it going to be?
Nope, it's going to be a 2-part live action film.
Why? I don't understand. I think you're the one who tried to convince me that it should be an animated film.
I do think it should be an animated film. It would make a great animated film.
It'd make a way better animated film than I don't know. It's just an unpopular opinion, but like, does everything need to be live action?
Not only that, but like, do we also not now need to treat everything like it's, bigger than that? Like, why is it 2 parts?
Well,
Harry Potter splitting up Deathly Hallows into 2-part, even though I think it was totally valid that they did that, has now opened the floodgates for everything being broken up into all
even
these
though
parts.
I'm okay paying double the price for these tickets, I don't
Deathly
agree.
Hallows is a crazy book, man. Have you ever read it?
No, I haven't read any single. I tried to read the first Harry Potter book, and I was just like bored out of my mind. I'm just like hard.
They get better when they get older, so
maybe I was like too old to be reading the first book, but
yeah, maybe, yeah, exactly, because most people grew up as Harry did. So anyway, Willow.
I know we're just drifting all over the places. So John Chu stepped aside, and some other guy replaced him. When did we see the trailer? I don't remember when the first trailer came out, but
in the summer, I think.
It was like summer. It was like something. It was like during like one of those D20s, like D20 like conventions and stuff when they announced it. And I remember I had not one iota of desire of seeing this thing, but one of my friends like made me sit down and watch it with him because he loves Willow and he was so excited, and I was just like, ew. And he asked, are we going to cover it for the podcast? I was like, I guess. And it took us long enough, but here we are.
So you watched this a while ago?
No.
Oh, you watched it recently?
I saw the announcement trailer.
I see. Okay.
I saw the announcement trailer, and I was just like, "You're excited for?" Because let me tell you, I'm gonna put the link on the show notes. But this excitement, this like announcement trailer, like video, had such low energy that I was just like, "This is an omen, guy. Like, I don't. This is not going to be good." Mm-hmm. I was right. you know.
Yeah, let us just preface it with that I didn't enjoy the episodes that I saw. I did not finish it. I did not care to finish it.
I did not care. I gave it 3 episodes. I sat through 3 episodes before I was just like, this is just not a good show. I have to stop for my own sanity.
Yeah, I only did 2.
Good for you. You know what?
More than you thought I did, probably.
I thought you were just going to do just one episode, just be like you did Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, again, fantasy's not my thing, and like I do try, but like after a while.
Well, Lord of the Rings. I mean, this just makes me. I mean, this is a fair comparison, right? Because they came out the same year technically, but Lord of the Rings, I think, was a competent show, in my opinion, compared to this one, where it was just kind of like, what is happening? Like this one was this show. All right, let's talk a little bit about what the plot. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about plot here. So this show is supposed to be taking place I think 17, 18 years after the events of the original one.
Yeah.
Already, pause, red flag here, because Warwick Davis and Saoirse look like they have aged a hard 50 years in those 18 years. You know what I mean? And that is not me coming down on people age. I understand this, but think age the characters a little. Just tell them, just don't make this 18 years later. Like, give me 2 generations later. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, I think it's a hard sell for me to try to believe that Warwick Davis is only 18 years older than he was at the end of the
because it's been 35 years. So.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I mean, I don't think they look that bad, but
it's not that they don't look bad. It's not about the look, but your body language says a lot. And Warwick Davis is moving like not a young whippersnapper. You know what I mean? Like, he's just not. It's like similar to when you were with that movie with that Martin Scorsese did with
Irishman.
The Irishman, right? Where you CGI'd the younger faces on the bodies of Robert De Niro, but he's moving like an old man. So it's just like, why? Like, why? Like, to what? Like, what's the effect of this? Like, he's not moving like a believable young man.
Yeah.
So I take slight issue with that. Now, is that why I don't like the show? Hardly. No, I don't like the show because the focus, much like the 90s show, decided we're going to focus on like the teens of this generation. And they're kind of unbearable, in my opinion.
And their love lives.
Okay, so our main character is Kit. She's the princess Shorsha's daughter. She has a brother named Eric, who is kind of like a California like surfer boy, which I thought was weird. It's just like, how this is supposed to be fantasy. Why is he like a surfer? I don't make that make sense. It doesn't. All right. And let me tell you, you know what? I'm just gonna get right into it. Sorry guys, this episode's been all over the place. It's gonna be all over the place. So episode 3, Nicole, for some reason they introduced 2 characters in the woods who are wearing straight up denim and like a full denim outfit, who want to protect Alana Durham Danon, and it feels so out of place. I thought it was just like, what am I watching? But like I thought it was just like, is this like maybe she stepped through like some time portal or something, and like it's like a spell? No, they're supposed to be in that world. These 2, I think they were a lesbian couple. Old lesbians wearing denim, like full denim, like Canadian tuxedos, and like denim like hats. And I'm just
even
like,
in other worlds, we have
it just like it took me so out of the show, where both me and Eddie were just like, did they just like not have a budget and just like, all right, we'll get away with this denim outfit? It was so weird, Nicole. That's like when weird. I was just like, I'm done. And here's the other thing. So you introduced me to this lesbian couple, and immediately they die.
Wow, the lesbians die.
Like, yeah, we're talking about bury the lesbians here. I can't say that they were for sure lesbians, but like I'm pretty sure they were like, they're 2 older ladies like cutting wood in the cabin. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
not very lightly coded here, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there is another lesbian couple, and that's the daughter, the warrior daughter.
Yes.
Is supposed to marry this guy who she doesn't even know, but she's actually in love with her best friend, who I think her name is Jade. And
yes,
when we were introduced to these 2 characters and like they take off the mask and you see like her curls, I was like, oh, maybe that's Alora Danon, because the whole thing is that the prophecy, said that, I guess a new prophecy happened that was like, oh, if Alora gets power, then it will bring like destruction.
So
it's like a contradicting prophecy to the first one.
The first 5 minutes of that movie was all exposition, and I was just like bored.
I was like, okay, I guess this is what they came up with for the show to exist, so whatever.
Right.
But because of it, they had to put her in hiding, and she grew up not knowing who she was.
Right.
So then, of course, you're going to watch it being like, oh, is that Alora? Is that Alora? Is that Alora? And if you remember the first movie, you know that she has really prominent
like strawberry
auburn curls. Yeah. So the first character we see has really prominent auburn curls, and it's not her.
No, it's not.
I was kind of bummed out by that.
So was I. So was Eddie. We were both.
Alora's blonde.
Yeah. Oh my God. So like, here's the thing, guys. They decided to make Alora like this. This is no offense, but like she is like the most unremarkable actress imaginable. She's a muffin girl.
Classically beautiful.
Yeah, she's like lovesick for Eric.
Beautiful.
She's boy crazy, right?
Boy
for
crazy.
This one kid. And she's the chosen one. And it's so annoying because it would have been way better if we made this girl Jade a lesbian, a fighter, Alora Danon. But no, let's give like this milquetoast girl the powers. Sorry, this is sounding so offensive. I'm not trying to offend her. This is not her fault. Like it was just like I was just kind of a little because it's just like why give us this redhead? You know what I mean?
Right? Is she just like there to throw us off the scent?
But why? The reveal happened in the end of the first episode.
At the end of the first episode, yeah.
So it's not even like this is like it wasn't even like a good reveal because like obviously if this was a more competent show and you were going to make that twist that like Muffin Girl is Alora Danon all along, that's something that would have been revealed like later on where we've already like kind of as audience built this assumption being like, well, clearly the one they're looking for is Jade. They just don't know it. And no, instead it's a Muffin Girl who is I keep calling her Muffin Girl because she was
it's ringing true, that nickname.
Dovey, I think was her name.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, yeah, cool, lesbians, love story. I just nothing was grabbing my interest. The only thing that was that character. I was like, oh, she would make it an interesting Allura. And then when it wasn't her, I was like, I really don't care anymore.
Me, I think that's exactly the same way. You see the red hair, you see her give the kiss to the girl. I'm just like, oh, wow, Disney's really making Allura Dannon a lesbian. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. And it's just like, no, she's not, though. She's not.
No,
Allura
she's the
Dannon.
boy crazy one.
That's
muffin
Allura
blonde.
And then we eventually meet Willow. We find Willow at the end of the first episode too. And I'm just like, he's so cranky for the rest of the show, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And
one note still.
Basically, I think this note is even more sour because he's just like just cranky throughout the entirety. Episode 2, we get a flashback to Willow seeing Allura Dannon as she's a little older, and this drove me. You must remember this, right? When he's like, oh, you used to have such beautiful auburn hair. She's like, oh, I know. They put like stuff in it to make it blonde. I'm just like, why would you fucking like?
That's the excuse.
I think I was just so mad. I kind of stopped watching it for like 3 days, and I was just like, I need to get through one more episode for this podcast. But I was just
because even like the mark on her is hidden by magic, so like that's the explanation.
I was really hoping that was like a fake out the first episode, that she was not going to be Allura Dannon, but no, she's Allura Dannon. By the end of third season episode, she is Allura Dannon, and I'm just like bored out of my mind. Yeah, and just that's it. That's all I can say, guys. This is like just not
I really don't have much to add to that either. And the only thing that I'm thinking of now is like, we're getting all of these new like continuations of properties that we love. And we're like, oh, let's visit it 10, 20, whatever years down the road. Like, this is a thing that we're getting now. And it really begs the question, like, does everything need this?
Right.
Like, is the Willow franchise, because I'm assuming that there must have been other medias in the last 35 years, like books, graphic novels, fan fictions, whatever it may have you.
That imaginary book that I've been talking about.
And yes, maybe that's why you thought it was a book.
Maybe.
But like, how much is Willow benefiting from this? Is this adding to the lore at all? Because a lot of times too, or at least some of the time, things can take away from it. It can actually kill a legacy. It can kill a story the more you kind of add to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, it's a trend, and in a lot of ways it's great because a lot of people, we're in this position now where we're like, oh, we can do this and we can revisit these properties and we can expand upon certain ideas. We can tweak things. Like Cobra Kai is such a perfect example. But ever since Cobra Kai showed people that we could do it, and now everyone's fucking doing it, and not everyone has to. And it sucks because, ideally, Willow being a fantasy series, it does make sense. And yet, if you really look at the story, it's kind of like, it was open and shut in the first movie. Like, the first 5 minutes of the Willow series really shows just how much they had to, like, pretty much retell the first movie in order for this to exist. Mm-hmm. There was not a natural opening to this story.
Right. No, I would agree.
So, it's just, again, though, I admit that this is not my genre. This is not my movie. I did not enjoy myself.
And look,
this was a hard week for me.
I am someone who does enjoy like teen dramas. Like, give me a nice CW show. This one it technically had all the trappings of like a CW show, right? It just had none of the I don't know, risqueness. No, maybe. Yeah, that's part of, like, look at Wednesday, right? Another perfect example of a show that's like very CW, and decided to just go with it. This show, if you're gonna give me a teen show, like, give me, I don't know, like, I think maybe it's just like maybe fantasy just doesn't go with teens and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's not like that kind of, I don't know. Oh, Harry Potter is fantasy though, so I guess that's not necessarily true. But I think it's in a school.
Yeah, there's
I mean?
that. I think this show just had a lot of different things it was trying to do, and that it ended up, because of that, not doing certain things pretty well.
Yeah, there's one character who I want to like. Kit, the princess, I want to like her, right? I think she has the trappings of someone I should be rooting for. She's queer. She's non-gender conforming. I think she's beautiful, right? And yet I find myself just not caring.
Yeah, because also like her big thing in the beginning is like, oh, my friend who I'm dancing with, the friend says I'm going to go off and do something that I have to do for my life, but that means I have to leave you. And then she like proceeds to act like a friggin' baby. Yeah. And then like humiliate herself and her future husband and her friend at the dance. You know, it's just like, well, why should I sympathize with you when you're being a baby?
Right.
Like, points off.
They're going on this adventure to like save Eric, the brother, but I don't care for him.
Yeah. He like actually looks like though the child of Joanne Whaley and Val Kilmer. Like, I believe him as Val Kilmer's son.
Oh, I could see that. Nah, maybe I don't. But do you think Val Kilmer, I haven't seen past episode 3. Do you think he'll show up?
No, I don't. I mean, he can't. Like, what would he do? Just stand there?
Maybe like as a corpse.
Oh my gosh. You know who does show up is Christian Slater.
Christian Slater is in this one? When?
Yeah. I don't know what episode exactly, but I know that he shows up and he's like a friend of Mad Mardigan and like Eric, the guy who the son is named after.
Interesting.
From the first movie, but we never saw him in the first movie.
No.
He was there.
Well, I actually do like Christian Slater. I think he's gotten so much hotter as he's gotten older.
Yeah, age looks good on him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I saw
It's his voice, though. Something about his voice. I've never been able to, like, really respond to him as an actor.
He has, like, an annoying voice. Is very, like, almost nasally.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it. I don't know. Maybe it's the fluctuation. Yeah, I don't know.
I think he was so sexy in this show that I was watching, the Dr. Death.
Okay.
Had, like,
about the real doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, eesh.
Starring Joshua Jackson.
He's sexy.
Well, he wasn't Dr. Death. He was the one bringing down Dr. Death.
Nice, sexy.
So that makes him like much even sexier. Although Joshua Jackson, as the Dr. Death, I thought was sexy too.
Damn.
Got my priorities straight. Yeah, no. Last thing I want to complain about this show is just to have this character Borman who is a bore. So that's it.
Appropriately named, at least.
Yeah. No, this show is just. I don't know. It's just not. It's a rough watch, and I did try. Like, it just reminds me of that '90s show where it's just like, what is it about? Like, what is it? Why do these two miss?
Why?
No, but like, what makes them like not jive? Right? Because I was much more forgiving of like a show like Velma, right? Like where that one was like very different than the original. Technically speaking, like these two properties are big divergence from their original, their source material. So Willow is this very, very not poignant story. It's this very, very specific story about this young man named Willow who's going on an adventure. This show is about this group of teenagers and their love lives and their drama going on an adventure to save a character I don't care for, you know?
Yeah.
And that 90s show is, I guess the same premise was the same. I guess it just felt like such a Disney Channel show that it almost felt like a different genre altogether than the original show. So I'm just wondering, it's just like, what is it about these two that just like make them, in my opinion, I don't know, this off-putting?
True, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people nowadays too, when they have these properties that, you know, it's like they're revisiting these old properties that they love in new ways. I think people really do just want the same thing, you know, regurgitated back to them. Mm-hmm. So when things kind of veer off into new territory, you're really taking a risk here because people expect this, you know, familiarity. So when you're presenting them something really, really new, there is no familiarity.
Yeah.
And that throws them off. But, you know, for people, okay, like we don't respond that way to Willow. So for us, you know, who have no expectations at all, I guess it's just like well, we're we might not be the ideal people here because, you know, we just weren't going to be happy with anything presented, I think, to us.
No, I was open-minded.
Okay.
I was. I went in this completely open-minded, as I try to do for the things we cover on this podcast. Like, I did. I came in there saying it's just like, all right, maybe, maybe this will be good. But it was also, I had this one issue with the show. This is like an actual technical issue. It was shot really dark. At times, it was like just completely underlit, where it was distracting. And
like in the castles or something?
Like in the castles, the exterior shots. And then the other thing is, they had this weird, not overlay, what is it? Color grading at times that was all over the place for scenes, right? Where you could tell that they were shot at different times of day. And it was, again, that from a technical point of view, as I'm watching it, it just felt like amateurish.
Oh, yeah, and very distracting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Maybe I didn't notice that. But I watched it in, like, my TV in my room. So I don't think
So not the good TV.
Not the good TV, no. Yeah. I also think Disney Plus is just turning out way too many of these. You know, there's so many that we haven't even, like, done. We haven't done National Treasure. We haven't done, like, Turner and Hooch. They're just, like, revisiting so many of their classic properties.
I think that's going to stop now that Bob Igor is back.
Bob Iger?
Oh, Bob Iger, yeah. I think he's putting, because I think they had a pretty big financial loss.
Yeah, they were cranking them out. Mm-hmm. So, smart, actually.
I think they're going to, like, focus on, like, The Mandalorian. That's it.
Yeah. Just Star Wars.
Just Star Wars. And good Marvel, Star Wars. Hopefully not Boba Fett, because that was... I gave up after 2 episodes on that one.
Jeez. All right. Well, I think we should stop ranting right now about Willow and maybe turn it over to you guys. You know, if you have any thoughts about Willow, I mean, I'm sorry if we disappointed you this episode, or if you completely agreed with us this episode, let us know your thoughts by reaching out to us, remakesrebootsrevivals@gmail.com. Hit us up on Instagram @remakesrebootsrevivals, on Twitter @remakes_podcast. You can find us via YouTube and Facebook by searching for Remakes, Reboots, Revivals. And if you have any thoughts you'd like to share or like to rate this podcast, please find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Give us a rating. And if you're able to leave us a review, please do. We love hearing from you guys.
That we do.
Yeah, and I think that's most of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just remembering
that's
the
it.
Val Kilmer thing. But yeah. Yeah.
You gonna watch
guys.
anything?
Tonight or what?
In general, I guess.
Maybe I'll watch
related.
a Torchy Blaine movie. They're like an hour long too, which is why I love them. So.
Is that even a movie?
Yeah. Well, the last one was called Fly Away Baby. The first one was called Smart Blonde. The next one I think is like Blondes in Paradise or something because she's blonde.
Okay.
So,
got it.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Are you gonna watch anything?
The Super Bowl this weekend.
Oh, you watched that?
Yes.
Are you watching it for Rihanna?
A little bit. I'm actually very excited to see what Rihanna's gonna pull out.
Of her bag, yeah. It's been a while. So
it's just, I think, her first live performance in like almost a decade.
Almost, yeah. Wow, it's been a long time. So.
I mean, hopefully she's not doing like ballads.
Yeah.
Like I didn't care for that. I didn't care for that Wakanda song.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah. That was her big, like, that was her first, like, first two singles since she has stopped doing music. But she's a billionaire now, so she doesn't need to do this.
She doesn't need to, yeah.
She does it.
Did you rewatch Wakanda Forever?
I haven't rewatched. Why would I I have no desire. I have no plans to rewatch it. I liked it, but I'm not a rewatcher. I haven't even rewatched The Batman. We did see Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Did you like it?
Loved it. I thought it was great.
It is very, very good. I'm glad you saw it finally.
Yes, I mean, it's finally streaming on Showtime, guys. So if you haven't seen it, check it out.
Yeah, no, it's surprisingly by the end you're like, oh my gosh, wow. So
yeah, that's it.
Love the message. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we'll stop chatting now. Kind of went all over the place with this episode. So until next time,
stay original.